The large ship came down from the sky on a clear Tuesday morning. It landed in an empty field outside Seoul, its metal skin gleaming in the sun. Soldiers formed a line around it, guns ready. Among them stood Captain Han, his back straight, and his eyes fixed on the ship. At Han's side sat Bada, his black and tan military dog. Bada's ears were up, alert to every sound. The dog's training was perfect, but Han could feel the animal's tension through the leash. "Easy, girl," he said softly, patting her head. Beta looked up at him with trusting eyes, then turned back to watch the ship. The world held its breath for 3 hours before the ship opened. When the door finally slid down, thick smoke poured out. Han and the other soldiers raised their weapons. From the smoke came creatures that made Han's heart beat faster. They stood nearly 3 meters tall, with scales that shimmered green and gold. Their bodies were covered in natural armor, with spikes along their arms and backs. Their faces were flat and reptilian, with yellow eyes that seemed to see everything at once. Bada growled low in her throat. Han placed a calming hand on her back, but he understood her reaction. These aliens looked like predators. "Lower your weapons," ordered General Kim through Han's earpiece. "We must show peaceful intentions." Han lowered his gun, but kept his hand near it. Bada stayed alert, her muscles tense under Han's touch. The tallest alien stepped forward. Its skin had more gold markings than the others, and it wore a kind of metal collar around its thick neck. "I am Commander Vex of the Merek Empire," it said in perfect Korean, its voice deep and rough. "We have studied your languages and cultures for some time." Han was surprised at how well the alien spoke, but he didn't show it. "I am Captain Han of the Korean Space Defense Force. We welcome you to Earth." The alien's eyes narrowed. "You speak for your planet?" "No, sir. Our leaders are coming. I am here to ensure security for this meeting." The alien made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Security? Your weapons would not harm us." Bada growled again, louder this time. The alien's eyes moved to the dog. "What is this creature?" Commander Vex asked, pointing one clawed finger at Bada. "This is my partner, Bada. She is a military service dog." The alien tilted its head. "You bring lesser animals to fight with you." "We don't bring them to fight," Han explained. "They are our partners. They help us in many ways." Vex looked confused. "You do not eat them?" "No. Humans and dogs have lived together for thousands of years. They are our companions." The alien made a hissing sound and turned to speak to the others in a language Han couldn't understand. Their reactions seemed to be disgust or confusion. When Vex turned back, his yellow eyes were colder. "Fascinating. You keep weaker beings as friends. This explains much about your species." Something in the way the alien said this made Han uncomfortable. He felt Bada press against his leg, as if trying to protect him. 3 black cars pulled up, and diplomats from the Korean government stepped out. As they approached, Han noticed the aliens watching them closely, their eyes calculating. "Our representatives are here," Han said. "They will discuss peaceful relations between our worlds." Vex nodded, but his eyes stayed on Bada. "Yes, we have much to discuss about your world. It has many resources we find." "Interesting." As the diplomats took over, Han was ordered to step back but remain on guard. While the talks began, he watched the aliens carefully. They were strong, confident, and seemed to look at everything as if they were counting its value. Han scratched Bada behind the ears. "What do you think, girl?" he whispered. Bada looked up at the aliens, then back at Han. Her ears were still flat against her head, and she hadn't relaxed once since the ship landed. Han had learned long ago to trust his dog's instincts, and right now, those instincts were saying that these aliens were dangerous. The Merek had come to Earth, and Han was sure they hadn't come in peace. Du Yun looked through his microscope at the Merek skin cell sample. The government lab was busy with scientists trying to learn about the aliens who had arrived 3 weeks ago. Du Yun had been working 16 hours a day since he got the samples. "Look at this," he said to his assistant. "Their cells have 2 extra layers we don't have." Next to his desk, his small brown dog Mal slept on a blanket. The lab director had tried to ban dogs from the building, but too many scientists refused to work without their companions. Now, many of the labs had dogs sleeping under desks or watching their owners work. Du Yun's phone rang. It was his sister, Ji-Soo. "Have you seen the news?" she asked without saying hello. "More Merak ships landed today." "How many?" Du Yun asked, sitting up straight. "7 big ones. They say they're just bringing scientists and diplomats. But my unit is on high alert." Ji-Soo worked with military dogs, training them for special operations. Her voice sounded tired. "How are the dogs reacting?" Du Yun asked. "That's why I'm calling. Every dog on the base is acting strange. They bark at the TV when the Merak are shown. They growl when the aliens are mentioned. Sam won't eat when I talk about work." Sam was Ji-Soo's best dog, a large shepherd with intelligence that amazed everyone. "Animals know things we don't," Du Yun said. "Maybe you should tell your commander." "I did. He thinks I'm being silly." After they hung up, Du Yun looked at Mal, who had woken up and was watching him with dark eyes. "What do you know that we don't?" he asked the dog. Commander Vex stood at the window of the Merak embassy, looking down at the human city. Behind him, 5 other Merak officers waited for him to speak. "The humans are weaker than we thought," Vex finally said. "Their weapons are primitive. Their bodies break easily." "But they are many," said Officer Krell. "Billions of them." Vex made a dismissive gesture with his clawed hand. "Numbers mean nothing without strength. 1 Merak warrior equals 50 humans." "What about their technology?" asked another officer. "Simple. They waste resources on comfort. They could have built war machines, but instead they made soft beds and entertainment devices." Vex turned from the window. "And they keep animals as friends. They are soft in body and mind." The officers nodded in agreement. On their home world, the strong ate the weak. It was the natural way. "The Supreme Commander will be pleased with this planet," Vex said. "Its resources will fuel our empire for centuries." "And the humans?" asked Krell. Vex showed his sharp teeth in what might have been a smile. "They will learn their place in the natural order." Ji-Soo watched her dogs run through the training course. 20 shepherd dogs jumped barriers, crawled under fences, and followed commands without hesitation. Sam was the fastest, finishing the course before any other dog. As Ji-Soo gave Sam a treat, a loud noise filled the air. She looked up to see 3 Merak ships flying low over the training field. The dogs immediately began barking and growling. Several pulled at their leashes, trying to get away. Sam pressed against Ji-Soo's leg, something he only did when he sensed danger. "It's okay," she said, petting his head. But she didn't believe her own words. Her phone buzzed with a message from Du Yun. "Found something interesting in Merak biology. They communicate with smells we can't detect. Coming to see you tomorrow." Ji-Soo looked back at the ships hovering over the city. The Merak had been on Earth for nearly a month now, but humans still knew very little about them. The aliens shared only what they wanted to share. "What are they hiding?" she whispered. Sam whined softly and looked up at the ships, his ears flat against his head. All around the training field, the other dogs were doing the same thing. Ji-Soo had worked with dogs long enough to know what this meant. They sensed a threat. "Maybe we should listen to you," she said to Sam, scratching behind his ears. "Maybe you know more than our diplomats do." In the distance, more Merak ships were landing at the spaceport. According to the news, they were bringing cultural ambassadors to learn about Earth. But the dogs of Earth didn't believe it. And neither did Ji-Soo. Du Yun worked late in his lab. It was nearly midnight, but he needed to finish his tests. The new data about Merak pheromones was too important to wait. "Look at this, Mal," he said to his dog. "The Merak release chemicals when they're planning to attack. I think they use these smells to coordinate without speaking." Mal was not sleeping as usual. The small dog paced around the lab, stopping to sniff at the air vents every few minutes. Du Yun's phone rang. It was Ji-Soo. "The base is on high alert," she said, her voice tense. "All leaves are canceled. Something big is happening." "The Marek?" asked Du Yun. "Maybe. Sam wouldn't eat all day. All the dogs are acting strange." Du Yun looked at Mal, who was now standing by the door, growling softly. "I think you should come to my lab," Du Yun said. "Bring Sam if you can. I don't have a good feeling about tonight. I can't leave the base, but be careful, brother. I think." The call cut off suddenly. Du Yun tried calling back, but there was no signal. Mal began barking loudly, something he never did in the lab. The dog ran to Du Yun, pulling at his lab coat. "What is it, boy?" Then Du Yun heard it, a low rumble, like thunder but steady. He walked to the window and looked up. The night sky was filled with ships. Not the diplomatic vessels that had been landing for weeks, but larger ones with sharp edges that looked like weapons. "They're attacking," he whispered. As if answering him, a bright flash lit up the horizon. A second later, the sound of an explosion reached the lab. Then another flash, and another. Mal barked again, pulling harder at Du Yun's coat, dragging him toward the emergency exit. "Okay, I'm coming," Du Yun said, grabbing his laptop and phone. As he followed the dog to the door, the building shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. They ran down the stairs just as a louder explosion rocked the building. The lights went out, but Mal seemed to know where to go even in the dark. They reached the parking area as the lab building collapsed behind them. Du Yun's car wouldn't start. Nothing electrical was working. He grabbed his backpack from the car, and with Mal leading the way, they began running toward the hills outside the city. Ji-Soo was in the middle of training when the first explosion hit. The base alarm sounded, and soldiers ran to their positions. The dog handlers were ordered to secure their animals and report for duty. "This isn't a drill," her commander shouted. "The Marek are attacking worldwide. All major cities are being hit." Ji-Soo led Sam and 2 other dogs, Dury and Nabi, to the kennel building. But before she could lock them in, Sam began pulling at his leash, trying to lead her away from the building. "I have to secure you first," she told him. But Sam wouldn't move toward the kennel. A second later, a Marek ship appeared directly overhead. It fired something at the main base building, and half of it disappeared in fire and smoke. Sam pulled harder, and this time Ji-Soo followed. The dog led her and the other 2 dogs toward the vehicle pool. They had just reached it when the kennel building exploded. "You knew," she whispered to Sam. "How did you know?" There was no time to think about it. Ji-Soo found a military jeep with keys still in it. She loaded the 3 dogs into the back and started the engine. As she drove away from the base, she could see Marek ships landing and tall, armored figures stepping out, firing at anything that moved. She tried calling Du Yun, but all networks were down. She had to find him, to make sure he was safe. She turned the jeep toward the city, but the roads were clogged with burned cars and fleeing people. "We'll find another way," she told the dogs. Sam whined softly from the back seat, as if he understood. As night fell completely, the sky glowed red with fires from the burning city. The Marek had come to Earth talking of peace, but their real plan had always been war. And somehow, the dogs had known all along. 6 months had passed since the Marek attack. The mountains outside Busan had become home to one of the largest human resistance groups. Hidden caves and thick forests kept them safe from Marek patrols. Commander Ta looked over the map spread on the table. He was a tall man with a thin scar across his face from an early battle with the aliens. Around him stood 20 fighters, each with a dog at their side. "The Marek supply trucks come through this valley every 3 days," Ta said, pointing to the map. "We need those weapons and medicine." "Their sensors will spot us," said a young soldier. "Not if we use the dogs," Tai replied. "Marek technology can't detect animals well." They think animals are too simple to be a threat. In the corner of the cave, Du Yun sat with his laptop, studying data from captured Merak devices. Mal lay at his feet, alert as always. Du Yun had reached the resistance camp 2 months ago, after walking hundreds of kilometers with Mal leading the way, avoiding Merak patrols. "I have something," Du Yun called out. The fighters gathered around his screen. "The Merak can't smell like we do. Their sensors detect heat and movement, but not the sense that dogs follow. That's why they can't find us when we use dog scouts." Ta nodded. "Then we use that advantage. Each fighter will pair with a dog for this mission." The cave entrance darkened as someone entered. It was the guard. Sook. "Commander, someone's coming up the path," she said. "A woman with 3 dogs. They found our trail somehow." Ta grabbed his weapon. "How many, Marek?" "None that we can see, but the woman looks military." Du Yun stood up quickly. "Military? With 3 dogs?" He rushed to the cave entrance. Outside, coming up the steep path, was Ji Su. She looked thin and tired, but she walked with purpose. Sam, Duri, and Nabi followed her closely, all alert and healthy despite the hard times. "Ji Su," Du Yun called out, running to his sister. They hugged tightly, both crying with relief. Du Yun had feared she was dead, like so many others. "I knew you'd be alive," Ji Su said. "Sam could smell you from kilometers away. He led us here." Tai approached them carefully. "You were military?" he asked Ji Su. She nodded. "K9 unit trainer. My dogs and I have been hiding in the countryside, moving at night." Todd looked at the 3 dogs. They were strong and well-trained, standing at attention beside Ji Su. "We need people like you," he said, "and dogs like these." Inside the cave, Ji Su told her story. After escaping the base, she had searched for Du Yun for weeks. When she couldn't find him, she began helping other survivors, using the dogs to find food and avoid Merak patrols. "The Merak can't understand dogs," she explained. "They think they're just animals. But Sam can tell the difference between warrior Merak and worker Merak by smell. He knows when they're nearby before any human can." Ta listened with interest. "Can you train other dogs to do this?" "Yes, and more. Dogs can find hidden Merak, locate their weak points, and deliver small bombs if needed." The fighters murmured with excitement. This was a weapon the Merak wouldn't expect. "What about your research?" Ji Su asked Du Yun. He showed her his laptop. "I've been studying their biology. The Merak are perfect hunters, but they think only about power. They don't understand loyalty or friendship. That's why they underestimate our dogs." Ta stood up. "Tomorrow, we strike the supply convoy. Ji Su, you and your dogs will help lead the attack. Du Yun has built devices that can jam Merak communications. We may be outgunned, but we have something they don't understand." That night, humans and dogs slept side by side in the cave. The next day would bring battle, but they would face it together. The Merak had evolved to be perfect killers, but humans had evolved with perfect companions. And in this war, that might make all the difference. Du Yun sat cross-legged on the floor of the cave lab, surrounded by papers and sample containers. After a month with the resistance, he had turned part of the cave into a working science station. The attack on the supply convoy had given them more Merak technology to study. "Look at this," he said to Ji Su, who was training dogs in the corner. He held up a clear container with a piece of Merak skin inside. "Their bodies are made for fighting. Every part of them is a weapon or armor." Ji Su walked over, with Sam following close behind. "Is that why they're so hard to kill?" "Yes, but it costs them something important." Du Yun pointed to his notes. "They have almost no bonding chemicals in their brains. They can't form deep connections like we do." "They don't have friends?" Ji Su asked. "They have leaders and followers. The strong command the weak, but they don't have loyalty like we understand it." Du Yun scratched Sam behind the ears. They can't understand why our dogs fight with us. Not for food, but for love. Commander Ta entered the lab area. He had just returned from a meeting with another resistance group. Our next target is a Murak communication tower, he announced. We need to know more about how they think, how they plan. I can help with that, Du Yun said. I've been studying their language patterns. They think in straight lines. Attack, conquer, control. They don't understand sacrifice or cooperation between different kinds of beings. Ta looked at the dogs sleeping around the cave. Then we'll use that against them. That night, Jisoo took Sam, Duri, and 3 other trained dogs out to scout the area around the Merrick Tower. They moved silently through the dark forest, stopping whenever Sam's ears perked up. At the edge of the forest, they saw the tower. It was tall and black, with red lights blinking near the top. Around it stood 6 Merrick guards, their scaled bodies shining under the moonlight. Watch, Jisoo whispered to the young handler beside her. She made a hand signal to Sam. The dog slipped away into the shadows. A minute later, they heard a soft bark from far to their right. The Merrick guards turned toward the sound, their weapons ready. Sam barked again, this time from the left side. The guards split up, confused. 2 of them moved away from the tower to investigate. They don't understand pack tactics, Jisoo explained. They think each fighter should attack directly. They can't imagine one of us drawing them away while others attack from behind. When the guards were far enough away, Jisoo sent Duri with a small metal device strapped to his collar. The dog ran silently to the base of the tower, dropped the device, and returned before any guard noticed. Back at the cave, Du Yun activated the listening device. Merrick voices filled the lab, speaking their harsh language. I can translate some of this, Du Yun said, typing on his laptop. They're talking about humans being weak because we care for the sick and old. In their world, the weak are left to die. That's why they'll lose, Ta said firmly. They think caring for others makes us weak, but it's what makes us strong. Jisoo nodded, looking at Sam, who lay sleeping at her feet. The Merak evolved alone, fighting everything around them. We evolved with dogs, learning to work together. Du Yun pointed to his screen. According to their history, any Merak who showed compassion was killed as weak. They'd bred themselves to be perfect killers. And we bred ourselves to be perfect friends, Jisoo said, stroking Sam's fur. Taz stood by the cave entrance, looking out at the night sky. Tomorrow we hit the communication tower. We'll show them that friendship isn't weakness. It's a different kind of strength. All around the cave, humans and dogs rested together, each drawing comfort from the other's presence. In a war against perfect killers, they would need all the strength that thousands of years of friendship could give them. The moon was hidden behind clouds as Commander Tad led his fighters toward the Merak communication tower. 20 men and women moved silently through the dark, each with a dog at their side. Jisoo and Sam were at the front, guiding the way. Stop, Jisoo whispered, raising her hand. Sam had frozen, his nose pointed forward, body tense. Everyone halted immediately. Merak patrol, Jisoo said softly. Sam smells them. Ta signaled for everyone to get down. They couldn't see or hear anything yet, but they trusted the dog's senses. 2 minutes later, 3 tall Merak warriors walked past, just 20 meters away. They carried long weapons and moved with the confidence of top predators. When the patrol was gone, Ta looked at Jisoo with new respect. The dog knew before any of our sensors did. Dogs can smell a Merak from half a kilometer away, Jisoo explained. They can also tell which type of Merak it is, warrior, worker, or commander. They continued toward the tower, moving when Jisoo signaled it was safe. At the edge of the clearing, they saw 6 Merak guards around the base of the tower. Time for the plan, Ta said. He turned to Du Yun, who carried a small box of devices he had built. Are your jammers ready? Du Yun nodded, handing out small metal discs to the dog handlers. These will block Merek communication signals. They use sound waves we can't hear and smells we can't detect. The jammers will create noise in their frequencies. And the dogs? Tai asked. They won't be affected, Du Yun assured him. I tested them. Jisoo attached one jammer to Sam's collar and whispered in his ear. The big dog licked her face once, then slipped away into the darkness. Around her, other handlers sent their dogs in different directions. Tai watched through binoculars. Amazing, he whispered. The Merek sensors don't see them at all. The dogs placed the jammers at points around the tower, then returned to their handlers. Du Yun pressed a button on his control pad. The jammers activated, sending out waves that humans couldn't see or hear. The effect on the Merek was immediate. The guards began looking around in confusion, touching their head devices. Two of them started making harsh sounds to each other, but their communication seemed broken. Now, Tai ordered. The resistance fighters moved forward, each with clear tasks. Jisoo and 4 handlers took their dogs to the north side, creating a distraction. The Merek guards turned that way, expecting a direct attack. But the main force, led by Tai, came from the east, where the Merek least expected it. The guards fought hard, but without their communication abilities, they couldn't coordinate. They fought as individuals, each making their own decisions. The humans, working together with their dogs, attacked as a single unit. In less than 10 minutes, the tower was theirs. 5 Merek were dead, and 1 was captured alive. It was the first major victory for this resistance group. Inside the tower, Du Yun found computers filled with Merek plans. This is more than I hoped for, he said, connecting his laptop. Their attack schedules, patrol routes, everything. The captured Merek sat against a wall, watched by 2 dogs. It was smaller than the warriors, with fewer gold markings on its scales. Its yellow eyes moved constantly between the humans and dogs. Jisoo approached it carefully, with Sam at her side. The Merek's eyes fixed on the dog. Why does it obey you? The alien asked in rough human language. You do not force it. You do not threaten it. He doesn't obey me, Jisoo explained. He works with me. We're friends. The Merek made a sound like a laugh. Impossible. Strong beings command. Weak beings serve. Jisoo knelt beside Sam and hugged him. The dog licked her face, his tail wagging gently. We protect each other, she said. That's something your people will never understand. The Merek watched them with confusion in its yellow eyes. For the first time since the invasion began, a Merek was seeing something it couldn't explain with its rules of power and control. The resistance had won its first battle. And with it, they had planted the first seed of doubt in the mind of their enemy. News of the communication tower victory spread quickly among humans. Tai used the captured Merek equipment to send messages to other resistance groups. Within days, fighters from across the country began to arrive at their mountain base. Your methods work, said Sun, leader of a resistance cell from the north. She watched as Jisoo trained new dogs with their human partners. We lost half our people trying to fight the Merek directly. Dogs are the key, Tai explained. They sense things we can't, and the Merek don't understand them. In his lab cave, Du Yun made an important discovery. He called Tai and Jisoo to see. Listen to this, he said, playing a recording of a dog growling. Then he showed them a screen with colored waves on it. This is what happens to Merek communication signals when they hear this sound. The waves on the screen became jumbled and broke apart. Dog growls at certain frequencies disrupt their signals, Du Yun explained. Their warriors get confused, can't coordinate. Can we use this? Tai asked. I'm building devices that can record and amplify dog sounds, Du Yun said. We can use them in battle. Outside, more survivors arrived at the base each day. Many brought dogs with them, pets that had warned them of danger or led them to safety during the initial attacks. Jisoo organized them all, teaching humans and dogs to work together in battle. The Merek always attack head-on, she told the new fighters. They think it shows strength. But we attack from the sides, from behind, from where they don't expect. Sam sat beside her, watching the training with intelligent eyes. The big dog had become a symbol for the resistance. Fighters told stories about how he could smell a Merak patrol from a kilometer away. In his command ship above the city, Commander Vex received disturbing reports. "Another supply convoy lost," said Officer Krell. "The third this month. The humans are using new tactics." "They are vermin," Vex said angrily. "They should be easily crushed." "They use their animal companions in battle now," Krell explained. "The four-legged creatures help them find our patrols. And some of our warriors report strange sounds that hurt their heads." Vex slammed his clawed hand on the table. "This is unacceptable. Send a message to the Supreme Commander. Tell him we need more warriors." "The Supreme Commander is already on his way," Krell said. "He wants to end this resistance himself." Vex felt a chill run through his body. The Supreme Commander did not travel to planets unless something had gone very wrong. Back at the Resistance base, Jisoo worked with a family who had just arrived. They had brought their old pet dog, a small animal with gray around its muzzle. "He saved us," the father explained. "He barked and wouldn't stop until we left our home." An hour later, Merak ships destroyed the whole area. All across the base, similar stories were told. Dogs had pulled children from danger, led families through safe paths, or warned of Merak approach. Even small pets with no training had sensed the danger and protected their humans. That night, Tai called a meeting of all fighters. "Tomorrow we strike the main Merak supply route," he announced. "Our scouts report 20 trucks carrying weapons and food. We need both." "How many guards?" someone asked. "At least 30 warriors," Ta said. "More than we've faced before, but we have something they don't." He looked around at the humans and dogs gathered together. "We have partners who would die for us, and for whom we would die." Jisoo stood with Sam pressed against her leg. The dog watched the crowd with alert eyes, as if he understood every word. Around the cave, other dogs sat with their humans, united against an enemy that could never understand their bond. The Merak had come to Earth expecting easy victory against a weaker species. They hadn't counted on humans having allies that had evolved alongside them for thousands of years, creating a partnership stronger than any natural weapon. A massive black ship descended from the clouds, larger than any Merak vessel seen before. It landed outside the ruined city with a deep rumble that shook the ground for kilometers. From his observation point in the hills, Ta watched through binoculars. "The Supreme Commander has arrived," he said to Du Yun beside him. Du Yun adjusted his own binoculars. "Their leader comes himself. We must have hurt them badly." The ramp of the ship lowered, and a line of Merak warriors marched out. They were taller and more heavily armored than any they had seen before. In the middle walked a giant figure, nearly 4 meters tall, with golden scales covering its entire body. "That's him," Du Yun whispered. "The Supreme Commander." They hurried back to the base to prepare. The attack on the supply route had been successful, but now they faced a new threat. The Merak would hunt them with everything they had. In the main cave, Jisoo was checking equipment when they returned. Ta told everyone about the new arrivals. "We need to strike now," Ta said, "before they can organize a full search for our base." "My sound devices are ready," Du Yun announced. "They can amplify dog growls to frequencies that will hurt the Merak. But we need to get close." Jisoo looked at Sam, who stood alert at her side. "We can get close," she said. "Sam can lead us through their lines." They planned through the night. The next morning, 50 fighters prepared for battle, each with a dog partner. Du Yun gave them the special sound devices to attach to their dogs' collars. As they moved out, Jisoo noticed Sam limping slightly. "Are you okay, boy?" she asked, checking his paw. There was a small cut. "Nothing serious." Sam licked her hand as if to say he was fine. The resistance force moved down from the mountains toward the Merak command camp. They split into 5 groups, approaching from different directions. Jisoo led the main group, with Sam scouting ahead despite his slight limp. They were halfway to the target when Merrick sensors detected them. Alarm sounds filled the air, and Warrior Merrick began to move in their direction. "Run," Jisoo ordered. Her group sprinted forward, not away from the danger, but toward their target point. Behind them, Merrick warriors followed, exactly as planned. The trap was set perfectly. The Merrick chased Jisoo's group into a narrow valley where the other teams waited, hidden among rocks and trees. "Now," shouted Ta from his position. All at once, 40 dogs began barking and growling. The sound devices on their collars captured and amplified the noise, focusing it at frequencies that humans couldn't hear, but that tore through Merrick communication systems. The effect was immediate. The Merrick warriors stopped, clutching at their head devices. Some fell to their knees, disoriented and unable to coordinate. The resistance fighters attacked from all sides, using the confusion to their advantage. The battle was fierce but quick. Then a huge roar filled the valley. The Supreme Commander himself appeared, surrounded by his elite guards. They seemed less affected by the sound devices, pushing forward with terrible purpose. Jisoo and Sam led a team to flank them, but the elite Merrick were more skilled than any they had faced. One of them fired a weapon at Jisoo. She didn't see it coming, but Sam did. The dog leaped in front of her, taking the hit meant for his human. Sam fell with a yelp that broke Jisoo's heart. "Sam!" she screamed, dropping to her knees beside him. The dog was badly hurt but still breathing. Blood soaked his fur. A nearby fighter recorded the moment on a small camera. Jisoo cradling her injured dog, tears streaming down her face, while Sam tried to lick her hand despite his pain. "I won't leave you," Jisoo whispered to Sam. "I promise." Around them, the battle continued. The Supreme Commander moved forward, his golden scales flashing in the sun. But every human fighter who saw Sam's sacrifice fought with new determination, and every dog seemed to bark louder, as if they too understood what had happened. The breaking point had come. The fight for Earth would be decided soon. The video of Sam protecting Jisoo spread across all resistance networks. Within days, every human fighter had seen the wounded dog taking the hit meant for his human. The image became a symbol of hope and determination. In the resistance base, Do-Hyun worked day and night to save Sam. The dog lay on a table in the medical cave, breathing slowly. Jisoo never left his side. "He will live," Do-Hyun finally told his sister on the third day. "But he needs time to heal." Jisoo kissed Sam's head. "Thank you for saving me," she whispered. The dog's tail thumped weakly against the table. Outside, Commander Todd prepared for the final battle. The attack in the valley had hurt the Merrick badly, but the Supreme Commander was gathering all remaining forces for one massive assault on the resistance. "They found our location," Todd told the fighters. "We can't run. We must make our stand here." Do-Hyun approached with new devices. "I've improved the sound amplifiers. They now broadcast on all Merrick communication frequencies. Every dog's growl becomes a weapon." That night, hundreds of resistance fighters with their dogs took positions around the mountain base. They had fewer weapons than the Merrick, but they had something stronger: the bond between human and dog. At dawn, the Merrick attack began. Hundreds of warriors climbed the mountain paths, led by the golden-scaled Supreme Commander. They moved with perfect precision, like a single killing machine. In the medical cave, Sam suddenly stood up despite his wounds. He barked loudly, looking at Jisoo with determined eyes. "You want to fight," Jisoo said, understanding. She helped attach a sound device to his collar. Together then, one last time. The battle was fierce from the first moment. Merrick warriors pushed forward with relentless force. But each resistance fighter fought alongside a dog, moving as one, protecting each other. The sound devices filled the air with frequencies that confused the Merrick, breaking their perfect coordination. Jisoo and Sam joined the front line where Commander Tai was fighting. Sam moved slower than before, but with the same courage. The Supreme Commander, Ta shouted, pointing to the giant golden figure pushing through human defenses. If he falls, they'd all fall. Jesu looked at Sam. Ready? She asked. The dog stared back with complete trust. Together they moved around the edge of the battle, flanking the Supreme Commander's position. At the center of the battle, Du Yun activated his master device. Suddenly, all dog sounds were amplified tenfold. The Merak warriors clutched their heads in pain and confusion. It was the moment Ji-Su and Sam needed. They charged forward together. The Supreme Commander turned toward them, his huge frame towering over both human and dog. He raised a weapon larger than any other Merak carried. Sam, despite his injuries, leaped forward, knocking the weapon aside. Ji-Su fired her own weapon, hitting the giant Merak in a weak spot Du Yun had identified between the golden scales. The Supreme Commander fell to his knees. Around the battlefield, the Merak warriors saw their leader wounded and faltered. Tay rushed forward with more fighters. They surrounded the Supreme Commander, weapons ready. How? The giant Merak asked, his voice deep and harsh. How does a weaker species defeat us? We were born to kill. And we were born with dogs, Tay answered, looking at all the humans and dogs fighting side by side across the battlefield. Beings who would die for us, as we would die for them. That is a strength you can never understand. The Supreme Commander looked at Sam, who stood protective beside Ji-Su despite bleeding again from his wounds. In the Merak's yellow eyes, there was finally understanding and defeat. Within hours, the remaining Merak forces began retreating to their ships. The Supreme Commander ordered a full withdrawal from Earth. Their perfect killing nature had met something it couldn't overcome, the perfect friendship between two different species. As the last Merak ship rose into the sky, Ji-Su sat on a rock with Sam's head in her lap, gently cleaning his wounds. Around them, humans and dogs rested together, each pair a testament to the bond that had saved Earth. We did it, Sam, she whispered, kissing his head. Together. The dog looked up at her with tired but happy eyes and licked her hand. Some bonds were stronger than any weapon in the universe.